We just talked about UX from a designer's perspective. For me, as a UX professional, UX is about solving problems for my end users. But that's only one half of the equation. What does user experience mean to these end users? What is this experience we're trying to design? If you type user experience into Google, you'll find this definition on Wikipedia, which kind of makes it the semi-official definition. It says user experience includes all the user's emotions, beliefs, preferences, perceptions, physical and psychological responses, behaviors and accomplishments that occur before, during, and after use of a product, system, or service. Now, that's a very technical and a very academic definition. And what I think they're trying to say, and what's a much more precise definition, is that user experience is what it feels like to use a product, system, or service. So user experience is not just about usability. It's not just about how fast you can get through a process or how few mistakes you make when doing so. And it's not just about functionality, the ability to do A or B or C. How users feel when they're doing A or B or C is just as important. What sort of feelings are we talking about? Often they're subtle but extremely powerful. Consider these. I feel in control. I feel confident. I feel smart. I trust this product. Simple emotions and very powerful, especially when you consider their opposites. I feel out of control, or I have no control. I'm doing something important like buying a house, and it feels like the system or the process or some anonymous account handler has more control than I do. I don't feel confident about this system or product or company. I don't think it's going to work well or do what I want it to do. I feel stupid, or I don't trust this website or app or the company behind it. These are not the sort of emotions we want our users and our customers to feel when they're using our products. So UX isn't just about solving problems, as we discussed in the first video. It's also about generating positive emotions while doing so. And we're going to discuss this emotional aspect to UX by discussing the 3 types of design that go into making high quality products. The first 2, functional design and aesthetic design, are generally understood by most people. Whenever people think about product design, which mightn't be that often, they're probably thinking about one or both of these types of design. But the third type of design, experience design, isn't as familiar and often gets overlooked. Functional design determines what a product is built to do. It defines the engineering that gives a product its capabilities. So with the car, for example, things like horsepower, engine size, the type of transmission, how fast it can go from 0 to 60, these things will determine what sort of car it is, whether it's a sports car, a family car, or an SUV, for example. Each of these types of car would have a different functional design underpinning it. The second type of design is aesthetic design. How does the product look? How visually appealing is it? What sort of personality does it have? And what do its looks say about the product's brand? And you can imagine that the sports car, the family car, and the SUV would each have a different aesthetic design corresponding to the type of car that they are. The third category of design, the one that's less familiar to all of us, is experience design. What does it feel like to drive this car? What does it feel like to sit in the driver's seat, hands on the steering wheel as you drive this car along the road? How responsive is the steering wheel? How smooth is the gear stick? How easy is it to adjust the controls on the dash? What sort of sounds does the car make? What sound does the engine make, for example, when it's idling in traffic or cruising on a motorway or overtaking another car on a country lane? What's it like to do mundane things like stick your golf clubs in the boot, strap the kids into the back seat, or adjust the position of the driver's seat? Consider this important point. All these small details on their own might seem trivial or mundane, but when added together, these details determine what it feels like to use this car. And companies that are serious about creating great products don't leave any of these details to chance. Because, and here's another important point, experience design doesn't happen by accident. It's a deliberate, intentional focus on the small details that matter to customers. Mercedes, for example, doesn't let the workers on the factory floor determine the smoothness of the gear stick, or the sound of the engine, or even the feel of the buttons on the dash. Of course it doesn't. And it's not that the workers aren't capable, it's just that Mercedes knows that these details create a massive emotional reaction with customers, and they want that emotional reaction to be a positive one. So these details are too important to be left to chance, and they are defined long before the car hits the factory floor. We talked about the three types of design in a sequence: functional design, aesthetic design, and experience design. But that's not how it works in companies like Mercedes. You don't leave experience design until last. All these small details are defined at the same time as the functional and aesthetic design. The three types of design need to be working together in harmony. And we'll see an example of that in another video when we look at the design process at BMW. Finally, the details aren't there for fun. Each detail has been carefully crafted to solve a genuine problem for users, be it air conditioning, entertainment, navigation, or pacifying children. Before we move on to the next video, it's worth recapping what we've learned so far about UX. If you're ever asked in an interview, what is UX? A smart answer is to say it's a problem-solving discipline, identifying user problems and building software to help solve them. On top of that, you can also say that great products solve user problems and generate positive emotions while doing so. In the next video, we'll look at another example of experience design and how it shows that functional and aesthetic design on their own aren't enough to create a great product.